Hello, my name is Will Allen, and today I'll be talking about my favorite thing. I'm kidding! Are you serious? If I was talking like that, that would be boring for the next 4 to 6 minutes. Let's do this. So, my favorite thing, the thing I'm doing this presentation on, is Freud. So Freud has always fascinated me, mainly because his ideas are so conceptual and you don't really you can't prove it, but it's almost like you know it's there. Like when I explain the id, the ego, and the superego here in a minute, it's just gonna be like, you know what, that actually kind of makes sense, but you can't prove it scientifically. Um, that's what's really interesting to me about Freud. But some fun facts before we get started. So he studied the sex life of eels, and yet with all the, I'm assuming, hundreds of eels that he looked at, he still couldn't find an eel's penis. As sex crazed as he was, and he can't find the eel's penis, that is kind of concerning. He also turned down 100K to write a love movie for Samuel Goldwyn, which that's a lot of money, especially back in the day. That is a lot of money, and he still turned it down. He also did coke. This is Jean-Martin Chersol, and so this dude is a pervert because he believed that everything, no matter what the problem was, always goes back to the genitalia. Doesn't matter what it is, you could have stubbed your toe and he'd be like, that has something to do with your genitalia, dude. And to be honest, that's probably where Freud got his idea of everything goes back to sex. Let's talk about his own sex life because it is important. I don't really want to talk about it, but it is important. So, really, it's about his wife. He blamed her for her fertility. He did not really want to have as many kids as he did, and she would only do procreative acts, and he wasn't a big fan of that either. But don't worry, he had a dream where he realized that he hated his father. He was not really a fan. But his mother, he wanted to sleep with her. He's always had a fantasy about that. And his sister, he wanted a sexual relationship with his sister. He also believed that women had penis envy and that during the phallic stage girls preferred their father, which obviously means that for the rest of their life they have penis envy. It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, let's get to the structure of personality according to Freud. So to Freud, personality has more than one aspect. So it has the id, the ego, and the superego. You ready, Freud? That's what I thought. So Freud's id, it's very animalistic. It contains the sex drive and the aggression drive. So basically, do you want to have sex with it? Do you want to kill it? Or do you want to eat it? That's kind of the big three of the id. What do you want to do? Have sex with it, kill it, eat it. So the id never changes throughout time because it has no context with the external world. And it also doesn't adhere to logic. It's purely emotional. That's it. So we have that going for us. Great. Next, we have the ego. It's the mediator between the id and social norms or the real world. It's more of the decision-making side of the personality. It does seek pleasure and avoids pain, but it has a real strategy to do so, unlike the id. Freud also compared the ego, he compared the id to a horse and the ego as the person riding the horse that's trying to rein in the horse. The horse is powerful, but they're trying to rein in all of that power. So, the superego, as depicted by Flanders. So, superego incorporates values and morals of society. You mainly get it from your parents, and to no surprise, Freud believes that it happened in the phallic stage of his psychosexual development. It controls the id as best as it can and tries to pull the ego towards the more moral side of things. And it has two systems. It has the conscience and the ideal self. The conscience causes guilt, and the ideal self is what you ought to be. So it's similar to Maslow's self-actualization, but it has to be just right. If it's too high, then everything is a failure. But if your ideal self is too low, then it causes you a lot of guilt. Let's talk about Freud's defense mechanisms. Repression. So it's the first one he discovered. It's unconscious and employed by the ego. So this is, it keeps threatening thoughts from the conscious, but you can't really do this because it causes so much anxiety and it's not really facing your problems. Projection, get it? Attributing your own thoughts or feelings to another person. So if you hate someone, the superego says, hey man, that's not cool. And you're like, well, they actually hate me. I don't hate them. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. Anna Freud actually discovered this. And you know what? whatever the issue is, it's just not there. Don't worry about it. Regression is when something's going wrong, when you're really stressed and you go back to previous behaviors. It's like teens giggling uncontrollably when they talk to someone of the opposite sex, for example. So, if you never want to look at your parents the same way again, you want to know what it's like to do a line of cocaine, you want to know what the dream what did that dream mean when you were getting chased by a crocodile? If you wanted to know what that means, or if you just want to be sad and think that everything is sexual no matter what it is, Freud is the guy for you. No, he's not, please. He's crazy.